Everybody knows you don't. Fall in love in the club, fall in love in the mud. Everybody knows it, but you're not like everyone, you're not like everyone.
Hi everyone, so I am recording a get ready with me basic baddie makeup look. I am getting ready to go to my best friend Holly's 24th birthday lunch. I'm just listening to music and putting on primer, so I'm going to start to speed this up and let you guys kind of watch, and I'll talk about products and things as I go, and everything will be listed below in the description box, so enjoy. So here you just see me rubbing in my primer, and I put a little bit in my eyebrows to kind of just like help my eyebrows keep from getting too oily, because my eyebrows tend to get oily throughout the day, especially towards the end of the day. And I'm just working it in, making sure that it is completely blended into my skin, and then raking the other end of a spoolie through my brows to kind of get the product through them to make sure that it's even and not too wet. And then I'm using a Kat Von D dip brow, and I will link down below what color that is. None of the products are in front of me right now, so I'll tell you guys after. And the brush that I'm using is just an angle brush from SEPHORA collection. Now that the bulk of the brows are finished and I'm kind of happy with the overall shape, I'm now using a lighter tone than my skin complexion for the concealer for the under part of my brow. And it's by Makeup Revolution, and I'm pretty sure the color is C12. It's pretty thick in consistency, which is why I like it, because I feel like I have a lot of control. And I just use that to clean up and blend underneath, so that there's kind of a smooth transition from my underbrow and where my foundation is going to be later on. So now I'm just moving on to the other eye and doing the same thing. So now you'll see me here just blending out the rest of that, and then moving on to using a little bit of my FENTY foundation that I'll be using on my face overall a little bit later in the video. And I just put a little bit on the back of my hand, and I'm now using the same brush I used to blend out the under eye to conceal the over eye part of my eyebrow. And I'm just using a color, well, I'm using my foundation color so that it'll blend seamlessly into my foundation when I do the overall face later. And so I'm just cleaning up the top, making sure I have crisp lines. And then putting a little bit between my eyebrows, because that'll help me blend out the front end of my brows to give that ombre look. This is the look I usually go for when I'm like going out and I want a glam kind of beat. And you'll just see me go over it, adding product and subtracting product with my concealer, trying to kind of get that perfect ombre look. Here I'm just using my Real Techniques brush that I probably got at Ulta to buff out the harsh lines that I would have from concealing the top of my brows. And I'm still going back in with my e.l.f. brush to blend in more of that front portion of my eyebrow. You'll see me here spraying down my edge brush with a little bit of water from my spray bottle and just wiping out kind of some of the residue from the Got2b gel in my edges. And then I'm going to move on to foundation. I'm using the Fenty Beauty foundation in the semi-matte or soft matte formula, I think it's called, but the original first formula. And I'm in the shade 385. And I'm using just a dense-headed foundation brush to kind of work in that first coat, and then you'll see me switch over to a beauty blender. Here you'll see me switching back and forth between my brush and my beauty blender, and towards the end of this little clip you'll kind of see that my beauty blender is not really doing what I really want it to do, and that's because it's extremely filthy. So I'm gonna take a second and go wash it and come right back. Now that our beauty blender is clean and we've squished it to make sure that it's not too wet, we're going to just go back to the other side of our face and do the same method back and forth with the brush and then the beauty blender to kind of just finish off our face. And remember, this is just what seems to work for my skin, and as your skin changes, your skin might need different things, so don't be frustrated if you don't always get the desired outcome. Also, sometimes this is where your skincare routine plays a huge role. I have a skincare video up from last week, and it's honestly just really important that you take the time to moisturize your skin thoroughly before you start to do your makeup, even if you're oily, because it really makes a huge difference in the appearance of your makeup after you're done. As for my skin right now, my forehead seems to be a lot more dry than the rest of my face, so I really try to avoid putting too much makeup up there, just because once it's up there it becomes very difficult to get the desired smooth finish that the rest of my face has. So it's really just trial and error. Let me know in the comments if you guys have tried this method and if it works for you or not. Now we are working on concealer. This is the same concealer from my brows. It is the Makeup Revolution one, and this is also the shade I use for my under eye highlighting and any highlighting I do with my face. And with this, honestly, you just have to use your judgment. Obviously, the more that you use, the lighter that area is going to be and the more pronounced it's going to appear. So basically, you can always put more, but maybe start with less and just use your judgment, blend it out, and you'll actually see me go back in and add more. So you'll see what I'm saying. So now we're going to start to set our face with the Fenty Beauty loose powder, and I am in the shade Cashew. It's a little bit on the ashy side for me, but if you're anything like me when it comes to foundation, I end up having to purchase a foundation that's either too warm or too red for me. So the ashiness of this powder actually helps to cancel some of that out and gives me kind of a more true to tone finish. And if anyone is wondering, my undertone is neutral. Not red, not yellow, not peach, just like literally in the middle. And as you can see in the video, I'm literally pressing the powder into the foundation. I am not baking. I don't bake anymore just because it's just harder to ensure that at night with flash photography that you're not going to get nasty flashback, especially being, you know, on the chocolate side of things. You know, flashback is a little bit more tricky to ensure. So with this method, I really haven't had any trouble. So here you see me using my Bare Minerals powder, and it's just a color that's as close to my face shade as possible. I bought her at Sephora, and I'm just dusting it all over my face, including where we just set our under eye, just to make sure that we aren't going to have any flashback issues at nighttime. And I'm also putting some over my eyebrows just to make sure that that dip brow from Kat Von D is not going to budge or change color on me, and a little bit on my neck just to make sure there's a smooth transition of color. So now I'm going to go in with my Fenty Beauty bronzer, and I use a fluffy kind of smaller brush. It's a smaller powder brush, I would say, and I'm using that to kind of just give me somewhat of a chisel, but nothing too crazy. Like, I don't want to look super sculpted out. I'm definitely going for a more natural beat, you know, my cheekbones but better type of look. So you see me making that stupid ass face just so that I can get a clean type of line so that on both sides of my face it will kind of cut in a similar way. I also put some under my chin, not that I really need it, but just because it helps with the transition from my face to my body. My face happens to be lighter than my body, so I always like to make sure that I put some darkness there to kind of give more of a blend from my neck to my face. And definitely some on that forehead because it's a 5 head and we need to look more like a 3 head. You'll see me going in with my Sonia CASHUK sponge and my Bare Minerals face powder again. I'm using my face powder because I don't want a harsh line, as I said before, but I do just want to clean up where my bronzer may have kind of like drifted too far out of place. I'm now going in with a more angled brushed contour brush and a darker contour powder just to kind of deepen what we've already done. So just so you can see the difference in color, it's more ashier, not as warm as the Fenty Beauty one, and I just kind of use that to deepen what we've done, and I go over that kind of like with a fluffy motion, not putting too much pressure, just to kind of give the added sculpt. And make sure throughout your makeup that you take a step back and you look at it from different lights. As you see me throughout the video, I kind of take a step away from the mirror and kind of look into the natural light just to see. And you know, even go into the bathroom and put on your bathroom lights and see what it looks like, just to give yourself a more realistic view of what your makeup is gonna look like, so you don't end up looking muddy and at the end feeling like you look like trash. And here you just see me contouring my nose a little bit with like a fluffy eyeshadow brush. And I'm using my Fenty Beauty for this because I definitely don't want, you know, to look super Michael Jackson, but a little bit of slim down never hurts. And for the eyes, I'm using that same brush I used for my nose contour and the same Fenty Beauty bronzer just to go into my eye socket and add some depth and dimension. This is kind of what I do when I don't know what to do with my eyes, just to kind of do a little something that kind of feels like nothing. It really takes little to no effort, and that's about it for the eyes for this particular look. So on to blush. I got this C palette online, and it's just like a magnetic palette, and I popped all my blushes into it. And I'm using this Wet n Wild blush. I honestly don't know what it's called anymore now that I've popped it out. But something similar will do the same trick, and sometimes I mix. But today I feel like I mixed the Wet n Wild one and then a little bit of this other one that is by FEMME blushes. I'll let you guys know what it is from my email order in the description box. Now I'm just using my Morphe setting spray all over my face and fanning myself down a little bit. So here is when I kind of looked at myself and felt like something was missing. So I pulled out my brown pencil and I just got this eyeliner from the beauty supply store, or it might be from Sephora. I'll have to let you guys know. But I just decided to line my top lash line and my waterline with this. Now everybody's favorite part, the highlighter. I'm using an eyeshadow by Absolute New York. I found it at the store in 34th Street right next to Sephora. And I'm using that on my top of my cheeks, I guess is what you would call it, my cheekbone. And just highlighting really quickly. And I always do a little highlight on my nose. I don't know, it's cute. And that's kind of my type of tea. Now I'm going to just use a small kind of pencil shaped brush for my inner tear duct, and I'm using my ABH Riviera highlighter just to give me a little bit of pop and just, it makes your eyes look more open. And then I'm going to take my Morphe setting spray again and spray that down because it just makes all of the makeup kind of again melt together. Now time for lashes. This is kind of like the completer step. I mean, not everybody is good with them, but honestly over time it really gets a lot easier. And once you have eyeliner, it kind of gives you some place to put it, and it helps to mask, you know, any kind of gapping or mistakes you might make with putting them on. But these are brand new lashes. I got them from eBay and I'm obsessed with these. I've had them once before and I finally found them on eBay, so I reordered them. And you're gonna just see me like try them on my eye, clip the edges to make them fit better, and that kind of just like really helps you give a more seamless illusion to your makeup. Now we're just adding lash glue to the lash bands, and we're gonna let those sit for a minute while we put on some mascara. Mascara I'm using today is I think it's a CoverGirl mascara. I'm not sure which one it is, but it's this chunky orange one. You'll know it. It's an oldie but a goodie, and this one I just use it and like it because it does do something for the lashes, but it's also a thin enough formula that I don't feel like my lashes kind of stick out from the lashes that I put on. And I'm just putting a little bit on the bottom. I also decided that, you know, the little bit of eyeliner I put on, now I want a wing, so I'm adding that right now. Now it's time to actually apply the lashes, and I'm using this lash tweezer by Kiss. I got it a super long time ago. I don't know if they still sell it. If I find it, I'll link it below, because I don't know, I literally refuse to do my lashes without them. I could do them with a regular tweezer, but it's just not as good as when I use these. And you'll just see me apply them, and I'll let you just watch that. It's kind of, I don't know, I feel like there's not really a science to it. Sometimes application is just better than others. Be patient with yourself, because I was trash at this when I started, and you know, it gets easier, as I said. Oh, by the way, these contacts are by Desio, and they're from their 50 Shades collection, or 50 Shades Darker collection, and the color is called Darker. There's a lighter version obviously too, but these are them. I really like them. They're new, so let me know if you guys like them also. And this lash curler is honestly just like a trick I learned on YouTube or somewhere online. And I just use that not really to curl the lashes, but to put it at the really base of my lash line. If you're squeamish, I would not try to do this step because you'll hurt yourself. But I literally put it towards the base of my eyelashes where my lashes would meet. And it just like literally clamps them to your lash line so that it's just a closer fit if you mess up. And just a little Fenty Beauty gloss, and we're done. Thank you guys so much for tuning in on this little basic Baddie makeup look. Stay to the end for photos, and thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed.